Thanks for joining us today, everyone, in our summer series for Mindful Steps. And today our focus is on welcoming grief and how it is a very human, common, and frequent emotion and different polarities of how we feel grief. So we'll be talking about the science of grief. And Laurel and I will be sharing mindfulness practices through meditation and movement and breath work. So when you find yourself in the waves of grief, no matter how big or small, you will have some mindfulness tools, some mindful steps to support you. And yes, my name's Heidi Sherwin, and I lead mindfulness practices of yoga, breath work, and meditation. And you'll find me right now on summer break from my classes at Health Sciences, but in September, I'll be back at it in the wellness studio. So stay tuned for the schedule for the fall. Laurel?
Wonderful. Thank you, Heidi. Yes, my name's Laurel Falconberry, and I'm an outpatient therapist at Chestnut Ridge, and I've been with the mindfulness team and group for quite a few years now, probably going on 7. Just love it. Love this group, love what we do, and can share with you all to share more tools of how to cope and heal. And yeah, we love it. And before we get going, I'd like to just take 1 minute of silence, just to be with your breath, to look at something pleasant in front of you, or to close your eyes, or to whichever is more comfortable. You know, looking at something pleasant, if there's hopefully something pleasant to look at, and or closing your eyes. And I'm going to ring the bell and just focus on your breath for a minute. Here we go. Now slowly and gently bring your awareness back to your room and just notice how you might be feeling after that pause, just after that moment of taking a time out. And however you feel is okay. It's all okay. So now we're going to go ahead with Julie Brzezinski Lewis is the person in our trio who is a neuroscientist, and she is away in Peru right now with her family. And she has a video, a small short video on the science of grief. And then we'll go into more experiential things after that. Anthony?
Hello and welcome. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you today, but I wanted to share a couple science studies on grief. Unfortunately, the literature is actually kind of sparse, which is unfortunate. But I'll just show you a couple studies. One that I picked out that has some brain imaging to go with it, they were looking at mindfulness-based cognitive therapy for grief. And what they found is when they challenged them with a kind of very frustrating cognitive task, the post-therapy, after they learn the mindfulness techniques, there was a reduction in part of the brain called the posterior cingulate. And that part of the brain is associated with this kind of, I'm suffering, I'm really sad, I'm really upset, I'm really frustrated, that kind of like claustrophobic feeling that you almost can't get out of. Like, I wish I wasn't so sad, I wish I wasn't so upset, but it just keeps on coming over and over in my head. So there was a reduction after mindfulness with that therapy. And this part of the brain you might have heard me talk about in the past. It's related to the rumination, and that rumination and activation of that network is associated with anxiety and depression. And I've shown before, the name rumination comes from ruminant animals. So you have thoughts that come kind of from the past that come up over and over again, thoughts that you don't want to appear anymore, and yet you can't, sometimes you even form a very strong reaction to the thought. And that's how they think that the mindfulness will benefit, that this emotional acceptance and the non-judgmental attitude that comes with mindfulness. You have a frustration that comes up, and instead of beating yourself up with it, you're non-judgmental and you simply return to the breath. And exercising that mental capacity to sort of monitor for emotions of grief, not find them adversive, but simply, accept them and be able to return to, the focus of whatever you're doing is the proposed benefit of how the mindfulness would work. They also interviewed these participants in group therapy situations and found they often reported that over time they had better sleep. And what I love is this more vitality in daily life. And to me, that speaks to, a lot of people will say, well, your loved one would want you to really enjoy your life and go on with your life. And sometimes I know I've experienced deep grief before. I have a picture of my mom here, that was a huge loss for me about 10 years ago. And vitality in daily life was a big deal. I felt almost like something was kind of hanging over me. And that's, how do you get out of that? And here they're reporting that just naturally over this 8-week course. So what I would say, is, it can be beneficial, but there's a huge caveat. If that grief is particularly severe, there's a disorder, that's been sort of labeled as prolonged grief disorder. And this grief is, kind of goes on, and it's interfering with daily life. In this particular case, and this is in a very high-tier journal called JAMA Psychiatry. So this is a top-notch study. There are 100 subjects, 50 in each group randomized, a really excellent study. They did find that grief-based cognitive therapy was superior to the mindfulness-based cognitive therapy for depression and for cognitive issues. Like often, I recall this as well, you almost can't think straight, right? And you start to there's so much mental effort being, kind of drained from the sadness, from this grief, that you have trouble concentrating. So that improved, depression improved more so with the grief-based. So what I would say, the science, and there's multiple studies that are kind of, in both cases, mindfulness can benefit, but, grief-based therapy might be the thing that you should probably start with. So it can help mindfulness can help with grief, and in particular that non-judgmental and not being reactive, and beating yourself up about your own sadness or own, anger or whatever is coming out as part of the grief. And the caveat is that if it is severe, seeking therapy is probably the right thing to do first. Adding mindfulness, of course, is a wonderful component, but maybe you want to start with the therapy. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and have a good class, and I hope you experience healing.
Well, that was wonderful what Julie just shared. And I would like to go in from, I'm a counselor, so going in from the counselor position too, is grief. Can you, Heidi, can you hear me well?
President of the Southeast Chapter of SCCF.
Okay, good. And could everyone mute? Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Grief is very personal, extremely personal. You've probably all heard of stages of grief, kind of the normal things that you might go through, feelings that you might go through in grief, but they're not in order. They're any kind of order. And you may not experience them all. Again, it's very personal. So I just like to review the stages, so to speak, and the emotions that you might feel, and to validate them, like Julie said, without judgment. To go, this is normal. Okay, I don't really like it, but I'm letting it pass through me. I'm letting these emotions pass through me without judgment. Because sometimes when we judge and we get all, oh, I don't want to feel it, I'm going to put it in a drawer, I'm going to compartmentalize it. Well, guess what? It's going to come out sideways or erupt. And you're going to go, oh, where'd that come from? Well, what we don't heal, what we don't let pass through us, what we resist persists in another way that can come out sideways. So these stages of grief are depression, sadness, normal, denial. You know, if you've ever lost anyone or a pet, and I'll get to that. I want to validate losing a pet is just as intense as losing a human being. Just as intense. So there's anger, why did you have to go? Denial, I can't believe it. Sadness, of course, depression, numbness, a numbness, which is kind of, numb. And then in the guilt, bargaining, like, God, if I had done this, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Guilt and bargaining kind of go together. Maybe if I had done that, or, oh, I should have done that. That would have been the magic thing that I should have done. And hindsight's always 20/20, right? At that time, we did the best we could with the knowledge, the emotional capacity that we had, the intellectual capacity that we had. So we can't go back and judge ourselves, because of course we've learned and grown. That's what we do as human beings. We evolve. We fall down, we get back up and learn from it. And if we maybe didn't, we may repeat that again, might fall again and learn and grow from that. So all of these feelings, this basket of feelings, we want to honor and say, of course I'm feeling that way. Of course I am. And try not to resist. Try not to resist. Let that feeling pass. Look at it, observe it, cry it, scream it, write, journal, ways to express it. Or, like Julie said, see a therapist, talk it out. So talk it out, cry it out, write it out, talk to a friend, whatever you need. And it looks different for everyone. So try not to judge other people's grieving experiences. Oh, they should do this. Or why aren't they doing that? Everyone's unique. Please keep that in mind. And no judgment, none whatsoever. It's kindness and compassion. A lot of kindness and compassion with yourself, please. Because this is a time, especially when you're grieving, that you need that the most. Try to give that to yourself the most. Now I'd like to talk about losses. There's loss, of course, of a loved one. There's loss of a loved one as an animal. And that emotion, that is just as valuable. So try not to, if anyone says, oh, you'll get another dog. Oh my gosh. Whoa, what did they just say? I'm still grieving my loved one, my partner. I mean, I have clients that say, this is my child. This is like a partner to me. And I'm like, yes, I get it. I get it. And so if anyone tries to deny that, just know that they don't understand. They don't understand. So I just want to validate that animal loss is just as equal to human loss. Then there's loss of identity, like when you retire. That can be very, on many levels, a big loss of retiring. Like, who am I? My identity. What do I do now? That's a grieving process. And then if you have a health concern, or if you become disabled, there's grief in that. The grief, how I thought life should have gone, how life would have gone if I hadn't had this disability, this disease, this illness, that changed my life, So there's grief in that, in loss, and to honor that process as well. So there's many grieving situations that go on in our life, for sure. As human beings, we will encounter many situations of grief. And again, it's to validate and honor those feelings. Sometimes they're scary and you want to run away. So, as best you can, just say, okay, I'm feeling afraid. Okay, I'm feeling horribly sad. Okay, I'm feeling like I'm beating myself up. I should have done this, this, and this. If it's hard to work it through and you need someone to do that with, a therapist is wonderful. We have therapy so that you can feel safe. It's not a family member. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I don't want to unload on a family member. Oh, I don't, or trust might be an issue. I don't trust too many people. Well, that's why therapy was created. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. So let me just check my notes and the time on my clock to make sure we're doing well here. And we are. So we're going to share yoga, moving the body, breathing, some breath work, and a guided meditation to help you. There are other tools such as journaling, going out into nature. I find nature very healing. Not everyone does, but that's one thing on my list. And then being aware of the shoulds. Whenever the shoulds come up in your vocabulary, try to see a stop sign and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, let's take a pause. Why did I pick up the whip again? And start going, should, I shoulda. Oh. Put it down, and go, whoa, whoa. With the mental capacity, the emotional capacity that I had back then, whether that's a month ago, a year ago, however long ago, I did what I knew to do. Beating up on the self is not going to help at all. It's not going to bring the person, the animal, the job, the disability. It's not going to bring anything back. So making peace with that. Sending yourself some compassion and kindness, which is a practice in itself till the day we pass on. We are not taught as human beings to forgive ourselves, to have compassion and kindness with us. We are taught a little bit, hopefully at home, maybe a little bit in school, but not to the degree, in my opinion, that we needed to have been taught how to care for ourselves lovingly and kindly. And let's see. And if you're with someone who's grieving, I encourage you to just be with them. We really, as we know, we really don't want to be told, oh, this is what you need to do or how to do it, or just want to be heard. And someone to say, I hear you. Wow, that must be hard. I hear you. Wow, that must be hard. That sounds hard. Wow. So just the validation of I hear you, this is what I hear, instead of how can I fix the situation. So that's a tidbit on how to be with someone who's grieving. And we're going to have time at the end for questions, So I am going to pass along now to Heidi for a little movement and breath work.
Thank you very much, Laurel.
You're
All right. I spotlight myself for everyone. Oh, so much care and wisdom, Laurel, to what you just shared. Thank you so much. And to Julie's science, giving us a lens through that perspective. And our movement and breathing practice today is going to focus on how we can move in the body and breathe in the body. And I loved Laurel's saying how it's expressing. Grieving can be expressed in many ways or felt in many ways. So then in what ways, specifically in movement and breathing, can we offer our bodies a gentle way to express things? And that is what we're going to kind of focus on, a gentle lens today with movement. Sometimes we feel when we're grieving, like, I just want to feel strong again or empowered again. And those are wonderful practices too. So I do want to share that could be something you invoke, right, into your practice. Today, we're going to take a gentle lens and a focus on ways we can express movement, a gentle breathing practice where we can express, it will be a sounding breath, where we can express sound that can sound soothing to us and feel soothing to us in moments of grief. And we'll be focusing on areas in the body where we kind of hold grief. And I know when I start to think of grief, my initial, like, if I were to, make a feeling for me, it's like, I just want to like pull it all in. I just want to pull it on. That's me, right? It's like, oh, pull it all in. It hurts. Like my chest hurts when I ache and grieve, or my belly feels upset with all the feelings around grief. So our focus today is going to be on just gently saying hello to these areas in the trunk of the body, and not forgetting the back body, because you can see this, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes, as we all have, right? Behind the scenes of our grief is a lot. So we're going to take care of the back as well. So if you'd like to join me, we're going to be in a seated position. So I'm going to scooch back just a little bit. And as Laurel said, if should start to come up, just offer a gentle stop sign. So even here, if you have a narrative that's like, I should probably be doing this movement, but I really don't have the energy to do it right now, that's okay. Just sit, you can watch, you can listen, and that is enough. So, with that, if you'd like to join me here with movement in your chair, in your seat, take a moment to scooch to the edge so you can really land your legs and feet into the floor. Scooch back enough, you can kind of see my feet there. And now hands could start just on your legs, a quality of softening shoulders and noticing hands finding a place to rest. You may also like to see what it's like to bring a hand to the upper belly and maybe a hand to the center of the chest. See how that feels. And this quality, this thought of our class title, this welcoming grief, right here, just welcome in this moment for you, or whatever is arising on the surface of activity. Welcoming some attention to your body. And how is it feeling today? Is there a lot of energy in the body? Or do you feel tired today? Noticing the thought waves in the mind. Where are the thoughts floating around? Is there a topic of conversation in the thoughts? Nothing to judge here. It's a moment to welcome what is already occurring so that you can be more present for this practice. And to your breath. Start to turn some attention to your breathing body, whether you have your hands on your legs or a hand at the chest and belly. Start to notice any amount of movement or rhythm or numbness. Sometimes we turn our attention to the breath and it takes a little while to start that shift to feel, however subtle or grand the breath is moving. Now, if you'd like to change your breath in any way, maybe it just feels real nice to stay with the rhythm it's at. But if you'd like to join me with 3 centering breaths, we'll take an inhale that feels comfortably full. You'll feel the trunk of the body expand a little or a lot. You'll breathe in full through the nose. And now out through the mouth, sigh it out. It could be a soft whisper sigh, or if you're feeling like you want to sound it out, go for it. Inhale comfortably full, feel the body expand a little or a lot. Exhale out the mouth, sigh it out. And one more. Great. Now invite the breath to do what it does. It flows in, it flows out on repeat. Let's move into the body a little more. With your arms, invite them out into a comfortable, wide stance. So elbows are bent, hands can be out a little bit wider or closer to the head. Start to think of getting wide out through the elbows. So across the center of the chest, you generate some space. Greet a breath, inhale, feel the body expand even out to the fingers. And as you exhale, soften the arms, palms are going to greet in front of you. Now, as you inhale, open it back up, any amount. Think of getting wide. Exhale, hands come together in front. Let's do that 2 more times. Follow your breath. Inhale, open wide, like opening a door. Welcome. Exhale, palms greet in front. Last one. Inhale, breathe full and open. Exhale, hands to center. Okay. Now reset, arms out to the side. We'll add a little twist. I often call this the agitator, just because it's like the washing machine agitator that I know some washing machines don't even have anymore. The good old days of that center agitator. If it's uncomfortable for shoulders to keep holding your hands out, you could rest your hands on the shoulders or go back to a hand at the chest and the belly as you do this. And just start real slow. We don't have to sync the breath. But you start real slow and doing the agitator move of back and forth, washing through the trunk of the body. And then check in to see if you even want to add a little more turn and rotation, if the back body feels good, if the hips feel good. If you want to slow it down, or for a little bit, you want to pick up the speed. Get a good washing cycle in. Again, the body is going to be breathing, it's waking up back and forth. And now slowly, like the washing machine has to kind of still itself before its next cycle, start to still the movement back and forth. Little ripples slowing down back to center. And now with your hands, rest them to the legs if not already. Be there in a moment and soak in sensation. Show up for the feeling of circulation down through the shoulders, the arms. Maybe you notice a little more activity in the trunk of the body. And now release your arms by your side. With your hands, curl in a very gentle fist. Doesn't have to be hard. And as you take your next breath in, draw your shoulders way high, like you're like picking up grocery bags through your hands. And with an exhale, sigh it out. Let it drop. Inhale, shrug, bring it up. Exhale. Inhale, shrug. Now, as you release, let the hands go too. Inhale, shrug. We'll do it 2 more times. Exhale. One more. Exhale. Let it be. Maybe give your shoulders a little wiggle. Notice how you're waking up at the base of the neck and the shoulder area. All right. Now again, rest your hands to the tops of your legs. We'll add some more spinal movement. A seated cat-cow. With your hands on your legs, as you exhale, start to slide your hands towards your knees. Your belly's going to draw back slightly, nothing too hard. As you tuck your chin, look down. Now, as you find a breath in, start to sit up tall. Hands will move back towards the trunk of the body and maybe feel a lift of the center of the chest. Exhale, repeat the roundedness. Inhale, sit up tall. Take 3 more rounds, back and forth for you. Exhale, round. Inhale, sit up tall, roll the shoulders open, chest high. Exhale. Inhale. Last one, exhale. And inhale. Re-greet your neutral here. Pause, maybe sit a little bit taller now that the spine has had some activity. With your right hand, rest it to the center of your belly. Getting ready for a side bend, sweep up with your left arm. Easy does it, lean to the right a little or a lot. And start to open up the doorway on the side of the ribs on the left side. All the little muscles between the ribs, getting a chance to take in a little more activity and space. Great, one more breath here. And as you exhale, release your left arm. Left hand will rest to your belly now as you bring your right arm up any little bit. Lean a little or a lot to the right or to the left, sorry. Pause the shape and then invite the breath to circulate. Sometimes when we're in grief, we kind of want to resist things and we hold in or we hold the breath. So here's an opportunity to allow the breath to add some gentle space in the body. With your next exhale, return to your neutral. Hands can rest at the belly. Okay. We're going to turn sideways in the chair to greet a little more of a rotation twist shape. So I'm going to turn here to my right, and I'm going to sit right on the edge of the seat so I have some space for my spine to sit tall. Now from this side-seated position, start to turn to the back of your chair. And then the back of your chair, place your hands on the chair wherever that's comfortable. So knees, legs are facing one way. And then start to allow the trunk of the body. The hips could move a little bit, but start to turn the rib cage and chest towards the back of your chair. If it's comfortable for the head and neck, look a little more to the side. So look a little more to your left. And then when you're ready, unwind back over your legs. Take your feet just a little bit wider, hands to the top of your legs. First, just slide forward. Elbows can rest to your thighs. Or if you feel drawn to go a little bit more, invite the trunk of the body to rest to your thighs. Arms can hang loose by your legs. Chin could tuck in a little bit more. Feel some release of the tension at the base of the neck, down the neck to the top of the head. Great, one more breath here in a fold. Now, if your arms are dangling by your legs, invite your hands to the top of your legs. With a breath in, root down through your feet and hands, rise up. Just a moment to reset elevation, head back over the heart and floor. And then when you're ready, let's shift to the other side. So now turn to the left side of your chair and ease to the edge of your seat. Sit up nice and tall, give yourself a welcoming breath in, and now turn to the back of your chair. Hands can hold the back of the chair wherever that's comfortable. Ease into it. So without force, start to send the rib cage and chest to face the back of the chair. And if the head and neck feels good to turn more, invite it to rotate to look away from the knees. Maybe sense the breath and how the breath feels moving through the pose. There's a little tension to it as we twist. But can you feel the breath giving shape and life to your posture? When you're ready, return back to neutral, facing the legs. Feet can go a little bit wider into the forward fold again. First, just elbows on the thighs, gaze to the floor. Stay here, or if you'd like, you could lean a little bit more. The thighs will support the belly. Arms can hang over the legs. Chin can tuck in a little bit more, releasing the head slightly. Feel free to keep your eyes open, or for the next 2 breaths, close your eyes gently. And now find the tops of the legs with your hands. On your next inhale, root feet and hands to help you up. Take a moment Back to elevation from the head being low, head high. Sometimes that feels a little fuzzy when we lift, so give yourself a moment to reset. And then when you're ready, turn back to center. All right. The last few postures I'd like to share are going to specifically go into stretching across the shoulders and chest. So let's first take the arms out in front and invite your right arm to cross over the left. Your hands will rest onto the shoulders. Okay. Pause here. You can keep the head high or maybe tuck the head in. Forehead will greet the arms. And now if you lowered the head, lift your head back up. Right. Now with your left hand, you're going to start to slide the hand towards the wrist and hold the lower forearm. And now guide your right arm any amount into a gentle stretch. You might start to feel this wake up around the back of your shoulder, around the shoulder and upper arm. All right, left hand, bring it to your belly. And now welcome your right arm out to the side. Sweep it way out to that center of the chest, out to your fingers. You could feel a line of activity and energy. And now with your right arm, bring it all the way up like we did with our side bend. But instead of side bending, we're going to pause here. And from the belly to the heart, could you feel a little bit taller? Like you could be lifted out of your seat. And then from heart to the top of the head, could you feel a little taller? Neck long, getting space. Stay here, getting tall all the way up to your right hand. Or if you want the gesture of a back bend, keep the feeling of tallness as you gently arc the heart space up to the ceiling. And on your next exhale, ease out of that. Right arm's going to come down, left arm down. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, bring the hands to rest at center. Let's repeat that on the other side. Arms will sweep out. This time left over right, crossing your arms, hands will rest on the shoulders. You could keep your head high or lower the chin, forehead will move towards the arms. A moment to feel the sense of your breath, feeling it in between your shoulder blades. And now we'll lift the head high. With your right hand, start to move it down the line of your left arm and hold closer to the wrist on the lower forearm. Any amount, start to guide your left arm almost back towards the right shoulder, but listen to sensation. Let that be a quality of, that feels like a nice stretch instead of, shoulder doesn't like that. If shoulder says no, ease the arm off to the side of it. Great. With your right hand, lower right hand to your belly, big welcoming sweep out with your left arm. Think of getting long from the center of chest out through your left fingers. And now with your left arm, bring it all the way up tall. Find some length from belly to the heart. And then from the heart to the top of your head, getting just a little bit taller all the way up to your left fingers. Stay here, feeling supported and tall, long through the body. If you want to add that bit of back bend, keep getting tall and maybe a little arc up of your heart space. And now exhale, release. Left arm is going to lower. Both arms sweep them up. Palms greet. Back to your center. Pause here. Let your arms and hands rest. Taking a moment to notice how the movement practice served you. And now we'll spend the next minute with a breathing practice called the bumblebee breath or the humming breath. This is a sounding breath where as you exhale, you create a gentle, soft humming sound. You can pick any pitch or tone. It might feel good to be in a low tone, or you might like a soft high pitch, right? But a gentle hum where the jaw stays relaxed without clenching the teeth. And you may notice as you hum, there's a little quality of vibration naturally through the nose, the throat, and a little into the center of the chest. And sometimes you start to feel the soothing hum in the belly area. So to start this practice, a hand could rest again at the belly and center of the chest if you'd like. You could also let your hands stay at the legs, or feel free to keep hands together at heart center. So start some focus into the breath without hum. Let's take 2 breaths here, smooth and steady in through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Face, jaw relaxed in through the nose. Out through the nose. And now if you'd like to begin the humming breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, offer a humming sound. You'll feel the natural need to inhale without grasping that. Inhale comfortably. Exhale, hum. Take 4 more with your own pace rhythm. Inhale. Exhale, hum. Last one. Invite a breath in. Exhale, regular breath out. Notice what you notice. The bumblebee breath has that vibratory aspect and the sounding aspect that can often be very soothing, like humming a song. Or sometimes that gentle hum that we hear is when we're out in nature. From here, as you're centered into this embodied practice, I'm going to shift back to Laurel, who's going to share a mindfulness meditation with us. Thank you so much, friends. May you be well.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you so much. From this soft and quiet space, let's turn inward to a short guided meditation where, again, if you'd like to look at something pleasant, please do, or if you'd like to close your eyes, whichever is more comfortable for you. And then all you have to do is listen to my voice. So let's notice our next inhalation in your nose. Notice the temperature. Is it warm or cool? Is the exhalation through your nostrils warm or cool? Just notice your breath. Maybe notice now your belly and chest slightly rising and falling with each inhalation and exhalation. Maybe bring your awareness to your belly and chest. Just noticing your breath and allowing your breath to flow like the gentle waves on the ocean. Easy in, easy out. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, just being here now. And on your next exhalation, allowing your shoulders and jaw to drop a little bit more. Feeling the full weight of your body on what you're sitting on. Maybe feeling the temperature of your room against your skin. And now bringing your awareness to your feet, wiggling your toes a little bit, allowing your feet to feel as best as you can grounded to the earth. Allowing your feet to feel the strength and stability grounded to the earth, almost as though you had roots like a tree, grounding you deeply, deeply into the earth for strength and stability, groundedness. And now, if you can imagine breathing those qualities up your left and right leg, just imagine as best you can into your left and right hip. And just noticing any sensations in your body now. Are you feeling any areas where you're holding maybe tension? And on your next exhalation, allowing those areas to soften a little bit more. Now bring your awareness to your next thought. And be curious about that thought without judgment. Is that a past thought, a future thought? What kind of a thought is it? And then after you've observed it a bit, just let it float on by like a leaf on a cloud or a leaf on a brook. And maybe you notice another thought, because this is what our mind loves to do. Just notice the next thought. And when you're ready, gently bring your awareness back to your breath, kind of allowing your breath to anchor you into this present moment. And from what we've talked about today, you might have a feeling that you notice in your body. Notice, give it a label. Try to label the feeling. And where is it in the body? Is it in the heart area, the neck, the belly, the head, or somewhere else? Just kind of gently noticing that feeling and allowing it to be without any judgment, with more spaciousness and kindness. And notice if there's another feeling. And again, validating it. It's okay. It's okay. I don't need to run from you feeling. It's okay. I can look at you. I can look. I can lean into that feeling. It's okay. All feelings are okay. There's no judgment about any of them. So just notice what you're noticing now. If you're noticing another thought or another feeling, and then just go through the same direction as we're doing. Observe it kindly without judgment. After you've observed it enough, return to your breath, nice and easily. And taking your time. And slowly now bringing your awareness back to your room, your feet grounded to the earth, and slowly open your eyes if they're closed. And just notice whatever you notice. And it's all okay, without judgment. Giving those feelings and thoughts space and observing allows them many times to kind of dissipate, to kind of lose the strength, so to speak. When you observe it, you give that feeling or thought space, it dissipates. It's kind of like popping a balloon sometimes. So welcome it, and welcome the fear. If there's fear of, oh, I'll feel too much, it's okay. It's okay. It's all okay. One feeling at a time. And if you need to stop and come back and just focus on something pleasant in front of you, that's helpful. That's helpful. There's one more technique. There's one more tool I'd like to help you add to your toolbox. And it's acupressure points. We have many, many acupressure points all over our body. And these that I'm going to share with you now are to help you process emotions, help you to process grief, sadness, anger, numbness, guilt, a slew of emotions. So, and you can refer to this on the internet and YouTube. It's tappingsolutions.com. It's Tapping Solutions. And they have free ones that you can follow along with for grief, anxiety, depression, a various number of things. So this is what I share with my clients, and most of them find it helpful, but not every tool we share you're going to find helpful. It just not, because we're all so varied. Different things help us and other things don't. So I'm going to begin with, we're going to say things to ourselves. So if you can imagine a kind of a little bit of sadness, not a heavy grief moment, nothing heavy here, just a little lightness of an old grief, a sadness. Just touch into a little something. Or you don't have to. You can just follow along these tapping points. You don't have to touch into that. You can just repeat as we go. It's up to you. Take care of yourself. That's most important. So this is what we're going to do. Either hand, it doesn't matter. We're going to start tapping on the side of our hand, the karate chop part of our hand. We're going to start tapping here. This is the beginning tapping point. And we're going to say whatever we're feeling. So I'm going to say things that may resonate with you, that may not. But you kind of in your head put what feeling resonates more. It's okay to feel my feelings. It's okay to feel my feelings. Now we're going to go to the inner eyebrow. So from the karate chop, we're going to the inner eyebrow, either one, inner eyebrow. We're going to tap on the inner eyebrow and say, all of my feelings are okay, and there's no right way. There's no right way to feel. It's all okay. There's no right way to feel. Now on the side of the eye, just on the bone, the side of the eye, there's only my way, my unique way of grieving. It's my unique way of grieving. Now we're going to go to the cheekbone. It's okay to need connection. It's okay to need somebody to talk to. It's okay to reach out. Now under the nose, so above the lip, under the nose, above the lip, I give myself compassion. I give myself permission to feel. I give myself compassion. Now on the chin, I give myself space. I give myself space. Now, under the collarbone, the bone here, so under the collarbone. And again, acupressure, it doesn't have to be exact. So under the collarbone, you're tapping. I give myself kindness. I give myself time, all the time I need. Give myself time, all the time I need. And now under the arm. For women, it's kind of the bra strap area, but for men, just under the arm. I am good enough. I am enough. And however I'm grieving is okay with me. However I'm grieving is okay with me. And now top of the head. It's safe to grieve. It's safe to grieve. However I grieve, I deeply and completely accept myself. However I grieve, I deeply and completely accept myself. So now let's just pause. Those are the points. Take a deep breath in. Hold it a little, and let the exhalation be a little bit longer, little bit longer. Now another deep breath in. Hold it a couple seconds. Now exhale, and let it be longer, 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 longer. Wonderful, wonderful. Now just notice how you're feeling. And again, it's all okay. However you're feeling, validate it. And so how we went through this and what I said, you put it into your version. But basically it's saying it's okay to feel this. It's okay to feel angry. So we start with the karate chop, and it's simple. We start with the karate chop. We went around the eye, right? Inner eye, outer eye, under eye. So just remember around the eye, then follow your finger to under your nose. You're following your face, your chin, collarbone, under the arm, top of the head. So I'll just review that again. Karate chop, right? Inner eye, outer, under the nose, chin, collarbone, under the arm, top of the head. Yeah, and again, on YouTube, you can find this. So I want to open this up now because you might have a question. I hope you do. So if you want to put it in the chat, or if you just want, if we can hear your voice, that would be awesome. How many minutes do we have left? We have about 3 minutes left, but we can stay a couple extra minutes if need be. So,
Heidi, I was wondering if you might be able to demonstrate the JOY practice, the breathing that was the JOY. I know you did that at the previous mind.
Yes.
I was just thinking that when someone is grieving, that doing the joy reminder might help people, and
Yeah.
might be something useful for everybody.
Yes,
that
Martha.
is,
thank
I
you.
agree with you, Martha, but let's not take too much time on that because somebody might
Yeah,
have.
I'll do 2 rounds. Yep. So the breath of joy is what it's called. Yes, that can be something that is an upregulating practice. And you inhale a little bit and reach your arms up. Inhale a little bit out wide. Inhale the rest of your breath all the way full. And then an exhale, bend your knees and go, ah. And then you come right back up. Inhale, 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 inhale. And you repeat that as long as you want. And afterwards, I recommend just like standing or sitting for a bit because it is very upregulating. It's going to soak in the rhythm of that joy. Yeah. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you, Heidi.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're welcome. All of your thank yous are very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you want to hear Anthony, you're going to be sending a Qualtrics some questions out to you. If you want to hear something more from this class, if you need more information, Anthony's going to send you that, right, Anthony?
Yep. Yeah, I'll send that out with the recording link.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we want to know. This is the first time we've done this class, and we'd like to know what you'd like to hear more about or less about. That would be good.
Yeah, and you might find, and Laurel, I love that you validated that not all of our tools are gonna, fit what you need, right? We're not a Band-Aid. And I know for me, just a personal share that I have things that help me when it's like a past grief, something that happened that I'm feeling from the past. And then sometimes it's a little more of that in the future grieving of, like the empty nest, having kids, they're going to leave, and like the grief of that in the future. And then I'll do different things. So again, finding what you may need to navigate your grief. One practice might serve one sort of grief compared to the other. And thank you for showing the tapping. That was great, Laurel. What a great tool.
Yeah, it was a little fast, but you can review it online, the points. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to let you go. We want to honor your time. It's 1 o'clock, and thank you all for coming. And our next, hi, Anthony, our next class is next month. And just looking at my paper, it's August 15th, and it's retaining our humanity in challenging times. So August 15th, 12 to 1, and hope to see you all there.
Yes.
Yes, have a beautiful rest of your summer.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.